Yo, 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 yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show. Today is January the 6th. There are, I think it's 6 games in the NBA for today, so we'll go through those. As always, we do a quick recap to start the show. Yesterday was a really good day for myself. 3-0 day yesterday. We cashed on, I gave you guys the Sir Thompson under points plus rebounds, which that probably shouldn't have won, if we're being honest. Like, the Knicks are just a terrible defense whenever they're away from the road. He got to the rim, a lot of dunks, especially early in the first half. The only reason we probably don't cash that bet, only reason why we do cash that bet is because he didn't play in the fourth quarter. Knicks just got blown out. Want to give a special shout out to all the 3-point shots that were made in the third and fourth quarter by the Detroit Pistons yesterday. Javonte Green specifically, every time I looked up, he was making a three. And, Brunson didn't come back in the game, so Sir didn't have to come back in the game. So that was the first winner. The other winner was on Vucevic over his 1.5 made threes. He started the game off over 2, and I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have bet Vuce. But he ended up getting up a couple more looks, and the play was predicated on volume. He ended up getting 4 or 5 attempts and knocking down 2. So the second winner, and then the third one was Colin Murray Bulls over his 5.5 rebounds, just based on variance. He had 12 rebounds in that last 12 rebound chances in that last game against Atlanta, and thought that the ball might bounce his way. The minutes have been solidified over the last few games as well without Jakob Poeltl. So those were the 3 winners yesterday. He finished with 7 boards yesterday. Hopefully we can kind of parlay that into today and keep going, man. Prolific says, good morning, Chris. Went 2-0 yesterday. Cash Nuggets first quarter plus 210 and Nuggets money line at a plus 290 live. Patience. I like it. What's up, Prince? He says, I caught the Nuggets live and the Suns at plus 3.5. Live with Charlotte minus 20. Live betting is the truth. And that's a fact. That is a fact. Johnny says, morning, Chris. It was always Detroit money line for me, respectfully. Playoff revenge. Yeah, I stayed away from that because I couldn't trust the Knicks on the road, even with Detroit being on the second leg of back-to-back. We also got to think about, we got to start really thinking about, Detroit got a lot of depth on that bench. Like, whenever a player goes down, they just kind of step up. It's easy to give them credit on a day like today, but we saw it in the game before when they beat Cleveland as well. So on the second leg of back-to-back, that was a really good win yesterday. 3-point shots winning a little bit more, but they play with a lot of energy and effort for sure. Rhino says, Hornets points, Khan, Knipple threes. We talked about Khan yesterday for sure. We talked about Khan. Barrio says, good morning, Chris. In chat, Bud Carrington, 7 rebounds and assists. No George or Corey Kispert today. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the rest of the games. Let's get into it. So first up, we'll start with JaXon. JaXon had a 2-0 day yesterday. Toronto minus the 3.5 in the revenge spot for Atlanta was a winner. And then I should have got to this. I never got to it yesterday. Just missed it. Chicago, Boston under the 236.5. It really didn't matter what number you got. They stayed under by a wide margin. Chicago's offense just never showed up. Boston played at that really slow pace that we expected yesterday. So that was a winner as well. JaXon been on a little bit of a heater lately. Looks like 2-3, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2. 6-2 in the last 4 shows for JaXon, 2 plays a day. So we go back to JaXon today. I'm sticking with the same prompt. What's the top NBA spread bet and total bet? Per Cleaning the Glass, provide detailed analysis. JaXon likes the Cleveland Cavaliers minus the 5.5. It says that they travel to face the Indiana Pacers, who are just 6-30 in a matchup where the efficiency metrics highlight a massive gulf between these two squads. While Cleveland has been inconsistent lately, Indiana is currently in a defensive collapse that makes them a prime target for a spread bet. So the Cavs boast a top 10 offensive rating, 116, and a respectable 11th defensive rating at 113.7. In contrast, the Pacers are struggling on both ends, ranking 29th in offensive efficiency at 108 and 22nd in defensive efficiency, 117. The most glaring mismatch is the effective field goal percentage, where Cleveland ranks 13th at 55%, while Indiana sits dead last in the NBA at 30th, 51.2%. So it says that Indiana is currently riding a significant losing streak, including 0-6 run at home. The defense has been non-existent, recently surrendering 135 points to Orlando, 142 to Miami. News reports indicate that the Pacers are severely shorthanded, with Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin out, which further thins the rotation already lacking confidence. Cleveland enters the game looking to bounce back from a narrow loss to Detroit. While Jared Allen is listed as questionable, the Cavs still possess superior shot making, led by Donovan Mitchell. Indiana's in perimeter defense is a major weakness, ranking 29th in opponent 3-point percentage. 34.4% allowed, 34.1% allowed. Cleveland's ability to score in bunches should allow them to separate from Indiana team that struggles to execute late in games. The second look, and now I will say that analysis did not have Donovan Mitchell ruled out, which he will not play today. So if you're taking that, make sure you're doing your own handicap. Like I always say, don't just blindly bet these things that JaXon says. Next look, Miami in Minnesota, and I like this one, under the 237. It says this matchup features two teams that show strong under tendencies recently, particularly when playing at Target Center. While both teams can score, the defensive discipline and historical trends in this building suggest the total is set too high. So Minnesota is 23-13. It says they've leaned heavily on the defense at home, where 7 of their last 8 games have gone under the total. They rank 7th in defensive rating at 112.7, and their offense and are elite in limiting opponent second chance points. Miami also brings the top 10 defense to the table, ranking 4th in defensive rating at 111.9. So while Miami has been involved in some high-scoring affairs recently, including a 147-point outburst against Denver, those games were largely driven by unsustainable shooting percentages. Minnesota's coach, Chris Finch, has recently tightened rotations and slowed the tempo late in games to protect leads, with the strategy that has consistently driven home games under the total. The Heat are still dealing with key absences in their backcourt, including Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier. While role players have stepped up, Minnesota's 7th-ranked defense is much better equipped to handle Miami's spacing than the teams Miami has faced during their recent hot streak. Historically, Minnesota is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 home games against Miami, often winning by dictating a more controlled half-court pace. But both teams ranking in the top 10 in defensive efficiency, 237.5 points is too high of a bar to clear. So those are the 2 looks for JaXon today. Let's get into it. First up, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers. JaXon just told you JaXon likes the Cavs minus the 5.5 here. I think that's the easy play, right? The Cavs the Pacers do stink. I mean, they're worse than the Wizards, and it's for some reason this is really hard for me to wrap my mind around it. I won't bet against the Pacers. Probably lost a lot of money by just leaving it on the table, not facing the Pacers. The only thing that's different in this game for the Pacers, in my opinion, and this line opened 8.5, I think it was last night or yesterday, and then Donovan Mitchell got ruled out, so the line has continued to come down. You also got Jared Allen listed as questionable, and that's significant in this game as well. Dean Wade's also listed as questionable. Max Strus and Larry Nance continue to be out. I don't really like laying too many points with Cleveland. They're only 6-9 against the spread on the road. And I mean, I can't make a strong case for the Pacers though. Just 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They have lost a franchise tying 12 straight games. So if they lose again today, it will break the record for most consecutive losses. Maybe they have something to play for, but it's back-to-back non-covers against Orlando that struggled, who's been struggling. Orlando hasn't won 2 games back-to-back, I think in like over a month. So, Orlando was able to win and cover in that last game. And then, of course, they got smoked by San Antonio in their game before that as well. They got double revenge. Cleveland did win both games. The spreads are 1-1. Like, I leaned over. That was what my notes kind of pointed me towards, kind of going through this game last night, just because Indiana can't get stops. I checked Cleveland's offensive numbers with and without Donovan Mitchell, and that gave me a little bit of hesitation. So they are minus 7.4. The Cavs are in net rating without Donovan Mitchell. Just a 108 offensive rating without Donovan Mitchell this season so far for Cleveland. With them, they're a 127 offensive rated team. Indiana is also 3rd in pace over their last 5 games. Cleveland is 11th in pace. Both of these teams really struggle to defend the 3-point line. So there's a couple different thought processes here. Last night, I wrote down Evan Mobley points. I think that he's in a primetime matchup here, especially if you don't get Jared Allen. But his numbers weren't available, of course. But I just looked at the games without Donovan Mitchell. 24% usage rate or higher is what I'm expecting in this game. Evan Mobley should be able to feast. We know that this Pacers team bleed points to the center position or to bigs in general. They just can't stop anybody from getting to the rim, which is why we bet on Luke Cornett over his 8.5 points over the weekend, and that was a winner. Barely got there, but I don't think Mobley's points are listed yet. But when I checked last night, they definitely weren't listed. So that was the first thing I wrote in my notes. What I ended up playing though, and I'll just go over the outline really quickly and show you guys this. What I ended up playing was the me see if I can get a successful transition here to Outlier. Link is in the description as it always is if you guys are interested in checking out Outlier. And this is what I ended up betting. What I ended up betting was, I guess I could have probably had this pulled up because the only thing that I bet so far. Oh, he's right there at the top. Aaron Nesmith, first player on the list. I bet Aaron Nesmith over his 2.5 threes in this spot. Line is a little bit juiced. It's minus 136, I think was the number. But I mean, the proof is kind of in the pudding. You can see his last 10 games. So a couple different things here. First, I looked at his minutes in his most recent games. And you can see that he's only been back for 5 games. So these are the 5 games that he's been back. You can see that he missed an extended period of time between November 13th and the day after, and really pretty much up until Christmas. And then when he came back, he had a little bit of a minute restriction, 19 and 23. But since then, he saw 32, 29, and 34 minutes in that last game. So minutes are going up. I love to see that. There's no Benedict Mathurin. We know that as well. And in these games that he's been back, you can see that the 3-point attempts are great. 8, 6, 6, 2 against San Antonio, and then 11 in this game against Orlando in that last spot. So I love that the attempts are there. That's 6.5 attempts per game over his last 5 games. He's shooting 45% from 3 in those 5 games as well. I looked at games where Benedict Mathurin, where Aaron Nesmith shot 6 attempts so far this season. He's over an 8 of 12, averaging 3.3 made threes. And this Cleveland team is really bad. They are the 6th worst catch and shoot defense in the league. Last 10 games, Cleveland's actually the 3rd worst 3-point defense overall as well, behind the New York Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Supposedly the 2 best teams in the NBA. Both are the worst guarding the 3-point line as of late. Nesmith, again, of course, is coming off a game where he shot 11 threes. Hopefully he can stay hot, stay in good rhythm. I did bet this one. Aaron Nesmith over his 2.5 threes. Kind of want to get there with the over as well. Don't know what I'll end up playing if I make anything else official, but over and Evan Mobley, I think would be the other ways that I would want to add to this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking here, and then we'll move on to the next. Diane says I do like the Pacers team total under. Rick Carlisle's been stuck on 99 wins since December the 8th. That is a fact, right? It'll be a whole month that they'll be without winning a game. And I'm not taking them in this spot. Now, granted, I tweeted this out last night. Yesterday, we saw 2 15-point dogs, not just cover, 2 15-point road dogs win yesterday. So, anything's possible in the NBA. Anything is possible in the NBA. Good morning, our fan. Appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate you, Troy. DJ says, good morning, Chris. I think we can only bet DeAndre 100 points, rebounds, and assists today without Mitchell. We know he's still motivated to get 6th man of the year, and this could be a spot that he could stat pad. That's a fact. I couldn't talk you off of that. I like Evan Mobley a little bit more, though. TC Best says, oh, you can get it at 20.5 on FanDuel, and reminding people to hit the like button. Appreciate you, TC. I like this look a lot. Mobley should have some success today. Taylor says Garland has hit his 24 points in 7 of his 9 games last year without Mitchell. I don't know if I'll bet it. I just wanted to share, and I think that's a solid look as well. Good morning, Deno. He says, let's make some more money. Let's do just that. All right, next game up, we have the Magic and the Wizards. So this line was at 7.5. I think it opened a little bit shorter than that. Actually opened 5.5, went up to 6.5. Looked like it's still between 6.5 and 7 now. Total open 234.5. Not a lot of movement on the total. I do see up to 235 though. So injury report here, we have Jalen Suggs listed as doubtful. No Mo, no Franz, even though they are supposed to make their return soon for Orlando. And then Washington will be without Corey Kispert, Cam Whitmore, and Keyshawn George, I think is how you pronounce his name. So without Suggs, I think, the number one play is just going back to Anthony Black. He gets a really good matchup. The Wizards are pretty much bottom 10 in pretty much every statistical category. And just when you thought you could trust them to cover a game, to play some defense, because they have been, a pretty good team. Getting Minnesota on the second leg of a back-to-back, Minnesota coming off a high against the Miami Heat the night before. And what did the Washington Wizards do? They allowed they allowed Minnesota to score 32 points, I think, in every quarter. Classical Washington Wizards type stuff, man. I think Minnesota ended up with 140 plus points. I thought they was gonna get to 160 in that game against the Wizards. So I'm not betting on the Wizards. I also don't want Orlando either, though. They're just 8-10, straight up on the road. They're 7-11 against the spread when they're laying points. They only covered 3 of their last 10 games. 7 of their last 10 have been on the road, so it's a terrible situational spot for Orlando, in my opinion. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game in Brooklyn tomorrow. I look at the Wizards. I mean, I just gave you guys the stuff from the most recent game, but it is 6-11 against the number at home as well. It is their third straight home game. They got a first leg of a back-to-back. They play in Philly tomorrow. Orlando was laying 9 points in DC back on November the 1st, and they won that game by 31. They beaten the Wizards 10 straight times, and they've covered 8 of the 10 spreads. I'm not sure what you're going to get from, like, I guess if Orlando could come in here and score the basketball, then, maybe an over. That's what I wrote down in my notes yesterday. I can't lay points with Orlando, though. So by default, it's probably Washington, but it's a game that I think is pretty gross. And then as far as like the reason why I'm definitely not betting Wizards games is because I know they're going to blow this team up. Like, I do expect some of these, veteran type guys like a Chris Middleton and a CJ McCollum to not be on the team, and they could get traded any day, anytime. We starting to hit an NBA, kind of ramp up the trade talks with the deadline. Not really close, but teams are CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton could both get traded today, and that's going to change everything. So I'm not betting Wizards games until, right before lineups. If I am betting anything in those games, I know Paolo has a really good matchup in this spot. And again, I will probably be looking at, some Anthony Black minutes, some Anthony Black points, threes. I showed you guys on Sunday his lines without Jalen Suggs. And I'm not sure if Jalen Suggs will play in this game because they'll probably use Jalen Suggs tomorrow to try to beat Brooklyn. I don't think they should be able to beat Wizards without Jalen Suggs. So that's my thought process on this one. I didn't really want to dig too deeply into it, if I'm being honest. Like Andrew over his rebounds and assists. Andrew Nemhart, okay. And yeah, nobody else has thoughts on this game either. We'll push on to the next. So do me a favor real quick and smash that like button if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'm sharing information every single day, breaking these games down. It's the least we can do is just hit the like button. Appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel if you guys have not. And let's keep pushing. Next game up, we got the Miami Heat and the Minnesota Timberwolves game we played in Minnesota. So this line looks like it opened with Minnesota laying 4.5, is up to 5.5, 6. Total 235.5 up to 238. I see as high as. And we look at the injury report, which is kind of significant in my opinion because the Miami Heat could potentially get Tyler Hero back in this game. I did see that he was listed as questionable. Jaime Jaquez did not play in that last game after getting hurt against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's also listed as questionable. Jovic is probable. And on the Minnesota side of things, only Terrence Shannon who continues to miss time. So 3rd and 4 for the Miami Heat. They lost to Minnesota on Saturday. Then they smoked the Pelicans. And then they had yesterday off as a travel day. Now they are in Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, beat Miami after losing to Atlanta on New Year's Eve. Then they beat the Washington Wizards on the second leg of a back-to-back. And then used yesterday as a travel day, came back home. So 3rd and 4 for both of these teams. Minnesota, can we trust them now? They have won back-to-back and covered back-to-back. It's their first game back home after a 4-game road trip, though. I kind of think that I know that the last game went over. Both of the teams shot really, really well. Anthony Edwards cleared his points prop. Rudy Gobert was dominant, but that was them coming off a win, coming off a really bad game in Atlanta where they got blasted in the first quarter. Tyler Hero coming back, I think throws the vibes off of me if I like Miami. Miami's been a really good team. They have not performed well with Tyler Hero in the rotation. I also would love to see what happens to Jaime Jaquez Jr., who, in my opinion, should probably get some 6 Man of the Year votes. He's been really, really good for this team. So I kind of need the injury report to clear up before I even want to think about taking this game. If both of these guys get rolled in, maybe then I consider an under. This game did go over the total, but it only went over the total in the fourth quarter because, Miami hit some late threes in that last game. The way I think about this game is Minnesota's offense is due to come back down to earth. They're a pretty good three-point shooting team, but they've been shooting a little bit over their head in their most recent games. But I do expect them to play some defense for them to dictate pace. They're not a fast-paced team. Miami is also, like JaXon said, I think a top 10 defense. Well, I know a top 5 defensive rated team on the season. So I like under, but I didn't bet this one either. I want to see what happens with the injury report before I do so. And that's my thought process there. Nobody else has thoughts on this game either. So let's just keep it pushing. Next one up, Lakers and the Pelicanos. So injury report for this one is a little interesting. The Lakers could potentially get Gabe Vincent back. There's no Rui Hachimura and no Austin Reeves, of course. And then on the Pelican side of things, Sadiq Bey is listed as out, and Herb Jones is listed as questionable. He hasn't played in the last few games, but we know it. If somebody's listed as questionable versus the Lakers, they typically suit up. That's just how things go. There's also reports that he's suiting up, to auditioning for this Lakers team. I'm not sure how true that is, but Herb Jones hasn't played the last couple games, and their defense has really been atrocious because of that. So I look at the Lakers. They haven't been playing really good basketball. Only 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. They did win back-to-back against Memphis. They didn't cover the last one. It was a push. They're 10-7 against the spread on the road. This is the first leg of a back-to-back for the Lakers as well. They got a game against the Spurs tomorrow, a bigger game in my opinion. And they've already beaten the Pelicans twice this season. I look at the Pelicans. I don't want to go near this team. Only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. They've lost 7 straight. They failed to cover all 7. It's also a first leg of a back-to-back for them as well. And they've given up 127 points in 6 straight, 122 points or better in 6 of their last 7 games. Defensively, they really, really struggle. Getting Herb Jones back should help that a little bit. The way I see the Lakers is simple, though. Like, they really struggle against teams that can play defense and they're trying to grind the game out. And they really, really blow out teams that, like even I think with a short rotation, they could potentially win this game and cover the number, if they're playing against a team that doesn't play a lot of defense. So the last few wins versus the Lakers, for the Lakers, actually came against the Memphis Grizzlies twice. And then before they beat Memphis twice, they beat Sacramento and they beat Utah. All teams that, not making the playoffs, or if Memphis makes it, it's going to be because of Zach Edey when he comes back. But yeah, these are teams that just don't play, don't play a lot of defense and can struggle to score the basketball as well. The losses for the Lakers, Detroit smoked them. Houston on Christmas Day smoked them. They lost to Phoenix and they lost to the Clippers. So the Pelicans don't present that kind of a matchup for the Lakers, even if they get Herb Jones back in this spot. So the total in this game, it did go over. I mean, it did go up. It opened 239.5. It's up to 241. I think that's something to play on. I'm not expecting the best defensive effort from the Lakers on the first leg of a back-to-back with the Spurs game tomorrow. Ultimately, I didn't play this yet, but it's on the short list. I like Ayton in this spot. His double-double and just his rebounds. I think the rebounds are 9.5, and you can get close to plus money. Not really sure why. And then the double-double is plus 155 on BetMGM right before I started the show. So I looked at Ayton, and I'm not going to pull this up again on Outlier, but both games he's played against the Pelicans so far this season, 16 and 12 rebounds. He's over he's over in both games, but also 22 and 19 rebound chances. That's what I want to see. The rebound chances are there. I will expect Ayton to be able to go down there and grab the boards. I mean, you got, Zion Williamson and Derek Queen. Like, he should be able to dominate the boards again in this spot. The Pelicans are a bottom 6 rebounding team on the season. They allowed a 3rd most offensive rebounds as well. Ayton should be able to grab some offensive rebounds in games versus teams that are bottom 10 in rebounds allowed. Ayton is over in 5 of the 7 games, averaging closer to 11.5 rebounds. So I like the Ayton rebound look. I got to do a little bit more deep digging on it, but I do like the rebounding look for Ayton in this spot. I also want to see what happens with Gabe Vincent. If Gabe Vincent plays today, I'm guessing he won't play tomorrow against the Spurs. But I kind of want to, the way that Jack LaRavia has been playing, I really wanted to bet his 3-point prop. The Pelicans are one of the worst 3-point shooting defenses in the 3-point defenses in the NBA as well. So Jack LaRavia, he's over his points prop, crushed Memphis, and he gets another team that funnels a lot of shots to the 3-point line. So he's in the starting lineup. I do expect him to be in the starting lineup. And the minutes has just been solidified for somebody like Jack LaRavia without, Austin Reeves being there, especially in his most recent game. So I will be looking at Jack LaRavia. His 3-point prop is like minus 140 when I woke up this morning. I don't really want to lay that type of juice, but, I think he could potentially hit 3 threes and, maybe even skip over the 1.5. So that's my thought process here. The Pelicans also bleed assists. So it makes sense that, players like, LeBron or Luka to be able to go out there and crush their assist line. I did see Luka. Luka went over the first game and under the second game that he played against them as far as his assist prop. And one of them he didn't have a lot of potentials, but I expect him to probably put Trey Murphy on him, try to slow him down. But I don't know who Jeremiah Fears is going to guard. I think he's a little too small to guard everybody out there for the Lakers. So we shall see how it goes, man. I guess the Pelicans offense has been so bad, but I don't trust the Lakers defensively, so I still will lean over in this game. I didn't bet it though. That's my thought process. All right, people woke up in the chat. Okay. Taylor says, wanna guess what I'm betting? Gobert over his 11.5 points. Yeah, I know he cashed in that last spot. That's a pretty good look, Taylor. I like that one. Randall over his rebounds and assists for DJ. Lakers should win. They absolutely should. Rhino says, I like the Pels. I was 50-50 over or nothing for me. I agree with that. Mario says, would love Herb on the Lakers. Wouldn't answer all about problems. That's a fact. Zion points. Yeah, I think Zion could get to the rim. Lakers have been good, against, teams that like to attack the rim, though. Like, I'm not sure how much defense LeBron going to end up guarding them. I'm not sure how much defense Bron want to play on the first leg of a back-to-back. Maybe they even rest Bron on the second leg of a back-to-back tomorrow against the Spurs. But I don't know. I'm not like a big. I'm not big on, taking bigs against the Lakers. But Zion has been hooping though. I got to give Zion some credit. So that's my thought process there. Let's see. Luka over his assists for Taylor. Says average just over 2 more potential assists per game without Austin Reeves. 16 compared to 14. Luka also over in 6 of his 11 games versus teams that are top 10 in pace. Pels also 29th in most assists allowed. I did see that. DJ says feels like Luka is due for a monster game. He's been playing better on the road this season and Laker wins. Maybe just take his points, rebounds, and assists at 50.5. Points plus rebounds at 50.5. Can see that as well. What's up, Brian? Appreciate you for tapping in. Jack, my fault. I've been calling the boy Jake the whole time. Jack LaRavia. Yeah, you're right. My fault, Mario. He says, I'm with you on Aiden double, Chris. I also like Poole 14.5 points over in 70% hit rate last 10, 4-4 last 4 that he's played against the Lakers as well. I mean, he gets Luka on defense, so I can see that. I'm just not a big Jordan Poole guy. I think his shot selection is super ill-advised. All right, that's what I got for you guys today. There's a couple games I did not go over. I guess I can go over those pretty quickly. It's only 2 of them, right? Which is San Antonio, Memphis. I'm not touching that. The 2 best players are both listed as questionable. Ja and Wemby are both listed as questionable. I think both teams are playing first leg of back-to-backs for tomorrow. Yeah, Memphis got Phoenix coming to town. Lakers got the Spurs got the Lakers coming to town. I wrote in my notes somebody threes for the Spurs. Could be Harrison Barnes. Could be, I'm not sure if Devin Vassell is going to play. Could be Castle. But Memphis has just been like a funnel to the three-point line. So looking at somebody threes in that game, lean over kind of like expect some points in that game. Both teams are top 6 in pace over the last 5 games as well. Don't really think we'll see too much defense in that game. Memphis game's been flying over the total. Spurs, laid an egg in that last game against Portland. Think they'll come back offensively in this spot. So lean over, but want to check the injury report there. And then last but not least is Dallas and Sacramento. Definitely not a game I'm touching. PJ Washington is doubtful. I was about to call him Kyler Murray. Keegan Murray is listed as out on the Sacramento side of things. Sacramento also looking just to kind of blow that thing up as well. So I wrote my notes under. I wrote my notes under, and I just can't trust Dallas laying points on the road. That's really what it comes down to me. Just 5-10 against the spread on the road, only 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, only 3-13 straight up on the road. And they've lost and failed to cover 7 straight road games. The Dallas Mavericks have. I know Sacramento's been god awful, only 5-12 against the spread at home. They've lost 5 in a row, haven't covered any of them. Kings did just beat this team. Dallas was laying 8.5 points in that spot. So now the books, shorten the spread by 3 points. The total does get adjusted down. So I wrote, don't believe in either one of these offenses, especially if PJ Washington is missing for the Dallas Mavericks side of things. Last game went only scored 220 points between these two teams. Dallas is one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. Totals are 8-2 to the under in the last 10 head-to-head matchups. So those are my quick thoughts on those games. I still didn't bet it, but that's my thought process. We'll see if anything changes with the injury report. And that's what I got for you guys. So Aiden double and rebounds are on my short list. Aaron Nesmith, I did bet it over his 3-point prop, and I really like the look for Evan Mobley too. And it's a few other spots that I kind of want to do a little bit more work on. I also like the under between Minnesota and Miami, but we'll see what I end up betting. I'll send it out to the members if I add anything. Best of luck on your action, whatever it is that you guys are playing. Resources all linked in the description of the video. Check them out. JaXon, Outlier, Moneyballer, OzJam. There's also a link in the description if you guys are looking for no vig. Like I got a link down there where you guys can use my promo code to sign up for no vig. If you guys don't have no vig, all kind of sports betting bonuses. Like if you guys are looking to add new sports books, check that link out that's in the description as well. And that's what I got for you guys today, man. Best of luck. There's tons of games on the slate for tomorrow, so got to start on that card early. Hit the like button on the way out, man. Enjoy your Tuesday, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.